Hey, it's Cortney Hicks. Welcome to another edition of Just Me. Ebony and I have been sitting here all week long. I told her to hold this seat so we could come back again this week and continue with our conversation. Earlier, last episode, we were talking about just the disrespect surrounding President Barack Obama and his holding office for this almost 8 years, the debacle over at Univision with the reporter and him speaking sideways about First Lady Michelle Obama and his comments. And today I want to kind of take that conversation that indeed talks about race and how we're portrayed and stereotypes, and kind of steer it in a different direction to talk a little bit about black images on TV. Everybody's excited about shows like Empire and Mary Jane. You've got Scandal with a lead African American. Whether or not you like Blackish, that did very, very well. And according to this year's pilot season, I do keep on top of my Hollywood news, a lot of the pilots that are coming out they shoot anywhere from 50 to 60 pilots. Mm-hmm. Most of them don't make it. But a lot of those pilots do include African Americans either in lead roles or supporting roles. Your thoughts on how we're being portrayed? Should we concentrate and focus more on the fact that we are being portrayed, or do we always have to hold that consciousness of how we're being portrayed?
Well, let me just first say, I'm excited about the fact that there is more color on TV, and not just with African Americans, but with Latinos. I mean, just races across the board. So that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. And even behind the scenes, because to me, people don't realize where a lot of the power lies.
Yeah.
So even directors, even on the movie scene with Ava DuVernay that we're seeing, mm-hmm. I'm excited about that. What still kind of disappoints me are the characters that we're playing. And we've been playing these same characters for decades so that we can get in, and hopefully we would think that we would see another type of role, specifically with black women. Mm-hmm. Seeing them as the side piece. I'm like, can I get a role where there's a black woman with a great career? We're seeing more educated black women on TV, but then we're all of a sudden
in the love life department.
The side piece.
It's a little compromise.
We have that with Scandal. We have that with Being Mary Jane. And I actually, like some of these shows with Empire. Look, don't say Empire. That's so bad. We've been joking around about it so much.
I know.
With Empire. But some of that is like a guilty pleasure, but inside I'm like, man, I want to see roles that are empowering. What was empowering for me when I was younger? A Different World. Okay. And the effect of that show helped to spike an increase in African Americans going to college.
And you're telling on yourself, because I do believe they celebrated about 25 years.
I saw the rerun.
And if I didn't, I can't remember if I properly introduced Ebony McMorris, News and Community Affairs Director for Radio 1, as we continue to talk about black images on television. And I think what concerns me the most is the stereotypes and how these characters kind of continue to play on those stereotypes. And I think you're absolutely dead on when you say that the power is in the pen. And so there needs to be more black writers, needs to be more black screenwriters, more directors.
Absolutely.
So we have more of a say on what's being put out there.
And I think that's what a lot of people who aren't in the industry understand. When I see housewives shows, the problem really is for me, and this is from a personal experience, and I've worked in television. I'm at a major network for 13 years, and now I've been with Radio 1 mm-hmm. for 6 years. Those stereotypes follow you into the boardroom. My first job, it was with NBC. It's white network. Well, people address me based on stereotypes that they see on TV. Mm-hmm. And I'm constantly, as much as we try to separate it from entertainment to reality, for African American women, that becomes our reality in so many ways. But I don't see that the other way.
And for folks outside of our culture, when they turn on Empire,
right?
Sometimes if they don't have black friends and colleagues and coworkers and counterparts, a lot of times that's the only way that they see us, and they have a tendency to think that that's us or everybody.
And so it can affect your pay, and we don't always make that streamline, but it does. We have to think more responsibly. We're not at that point. We don't have that much out there where we can afford to lose opportunities on television on being a side piece.
Very interesting. Want to change the topic real quick before we wrap up. It's Women's History Month. Speaking of wrapping up, we're wrapping up the month of March. A lot of people don't know that. We go in from Black History Month to Women's History Month, and not just Black women.
Yes.
All women. And I know one of my sheroes, I would have to say, I love Gloria Steinem and just what she represents as far as, moving ahead with women and women issues and equal pay and maternity leaves and balancing work and being a mom. She was just really at the forefront of that movement. I think she's now in her late 70s, maybe early 80s. She's up there, but she is still around and still doing her thing. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, Google hashtag Gloria Steinem, just a wonderful activist when it comes to women and women rights. And I'm very much a girly girl, but there are some things that were put in place because of her and that movement. And there are things that still need to be put in place as far as women and some of the issues that surround us, in particular at the workplace. One of your sheroes when it comes to Women's History Month? And again, that's anybody.
It is. And I always have to think about my mother first.
Oh, Mommy.
I do. I came from a single parent home, grew up in Northeast DC, didn't have a lot, but my mother sacrificed everything, even her own education, so that she could provide a way for me to do better, to go to college. I didn't have what everybody else had. I shopped at the thrift store, and that felt like Neiman's to me. We always found the cutest things. But I didn't realize I didn't have a lot because she gave me so many different experiences. Whether it was making the trip to the library fun or the museum, she exposed me to a lot of different cultures the best way that she could. And I see the sacrifices. And now that I look back and I mentor a lot of young women, and what they're missing is that wisdom from the older generation.
Yes.
That's what they're missing because so many women are having babies, and I'm not downing anybody for that because I'm the product of the same type of environment, but we've got to do better to support each other, even as women in the workplace. We've got to do better to support each other. So my mom, I love you. She's done more for me than anybody that I can
you guys are
read
super
about
close.
or imagine.
You brought her to, when I was with Radio 1.
She's
you
like
guys
my best friend.
Brought her to the station. You brought her to the station a couple times to my show. We met. And she gives the
such a
greatest
strong
hugs.
woman.
The best hugs ever.
She's wonderful. She worked for the government. She worked in PR. So I had that PR thing inside of me.
That's where you get it from. You get it.
That's where I get it from.
Honest. You get it honest.
I love her. She's the best.
Ebony McMorris, you are the best. You are
you are the
one
best.
of my. I know. You are one of my
Take it.
good sister girlfriends, definitely
Absolutely.
one of my sister circle members, and I appreciate you so very much as I continue to move forward with new endeavors. Thanks for coming and
I'm
supporting.
looking for you to be like, shoo.
That's it, honey. That's it.
Don't forget
The
us.
little people.
Don't forget us.
I'll try not to.
And literally, because I'm short.
Yeah, and as we wrap up Women's History Month, the month of March, you think about who your shero is and maybe give them a call if they're still living, an email, a text. How about a visit? Face-to-face conversation. How about that? We don't do that too much
texting.
anymore. I know.
That's a whole nother show.
And make sure you make plans to join us next week for another Just Me webisode. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. To my camera guy, Dave. Warwick, and to my producer, Tamika Smith. I appreciate you guys as well. We'll see you next time.
Bye.